So as Tim says, we can support your investment in a number of ways, including financial support. So the Australian Commonwealth Government's Digital Games Tax Offset, or the DGTO, commencing on the 1st of July 2022, will make Australia a highly competitive destination and create unparalleled business opportunities for companies keen to expand into the Asia Pacific region. To recognise this opportunity window, the Victorian Government acknowledges there are opportunities to attract new companies into the existing dynamic ecosystem. And so we're able to offer incentives to help you establish yourself here. We have a new 3-year strategy to accelerate your investment into Melbourne. What we want from you is to commit to establishing your studio, your operation here before the end of June 2022. And in return, we offer incentives based on the number of jobs you employ in Victoria across a 3-year period. The total value support depends on the number and skills of those jobs. We have an allocation of $6 million of support over 3 years, specifically to support these businesses looking at the offset. So at a federal level, commencing, as I mentioned, on the 1st of July 2022, is the Commonwealth, the Australian Government, is offering a 30% refundable tax offset. These generous benefits offered by the Australian Government are in addition to Invest Victoria's Job Incentive and Film Victoria's Victorian Screen Incentive for digital games. And I'll hand over to Caroline to expand on that shortly. A team responsible within the Australian Government is still undertaking industry consultation to build a robust framework. So details on the qualifying Australian Games expenditure is yet to be finalised. What I can say is a company must spend a minimum of $500,000, that's Australian dollars, to qualify. In addition to the rebate, it's worth mentioning that the federal government has committed to potentially fast-tracking global talent visas, as well as providing temporary activity visas for studios that want to relocate key staff for up to 18 months. So the Victorian Government has a dedicated branch that support you with these visa inquiries and application. And we have representatives who can answer any questions and answers if you want to delve a bit deeper into that in terms of on this webinar or following this as well. So great pleasure to hand over to Caroline to speak more about the Vic Screen and Film Victoria's Games funding programs.
Thanks so much, Craig, and welcome everyone. Good to see you this morning, which is our evening, and I think you can tell that I'm sitting here in a bit of sun. It's a gorgeous sunset here in Melbourne this evening. I wanted to let you know a little bit more about Vic Screen, which is the 4-year, close to $200 million strategy for screen-based sectors, which is very much inclusive of the digital games sector, as well as film and television production, animation, post-production, and visual effects. So the Victorian Government is, of course, a strong supporter of the state's digital games sector. In May this year, the Victorian Government launched Vic Screen, which, as I said, was close to, I always like to say close to 200 million rather than 191.5 million, 4-year strategy to put Victoria at the forefront of the global screen entertainment boom. Now, not including that is the fact that we are also constructing a very large soundstage to complement our film and television studios here, which will be launching in January next year, which is also an additional $46 million capital investment in film and television screen capital. Attracting international projects to the state is what we do at Film Victoria, and we like to follow a process of creating a strong pipeline of secure work for local screen workers, and specialist businesses is a key focus for Vic Screen, the strategy at Film Victoria. Games is of course included, and I think, as was mentioned in the introductions, we have been supporting in terms of investment, cash investment in games development for over 25 years. So we have a new incentive as well as supporting local games IP development, and that new incentive is to attract digital games projects to be undertaken here in Victoria with Victorian-based businesses, whether they're internationally or locally owned and operated. We expanded the Victorian Screen Incentive to attract these projects for digital games to Victoria, and we launched that as a pilot program in spring last year, which is our September last year. We were provided annual funding, which we were fully expended within 6 months, generating well over $28 million worth of work in a very short period of time. Through VSI, Film Victoria provides competitive grants to attract Footloose Games projects that need to spend a minimum of $1 million. That minimum of $1 million we are actually reconsidering now that the federal government has also announced their offset fund, which is going to be launched, I think, as Craig said, on the 1st of July next year. Their minimum spend is $500,000. We are looking to make some changes there to reduce that $1 million down to $500,000 to make it easier for all. So not only would you be getting 30% by the federal government on every dollar spent in Victoria on a digital game, but we would also contribute on occasion up to a capped amount of 10%. This program, as I said, already has generated significant investment in our local games community, and we've been working on some of the world's biggest titles, and we can speak to Tom and also Greg about that shortly. These grants are offered on a project-by-project basis, and as I said, are calculated on a percentage of the expenditure and also the jobs and other benefits that you create within our games community. So we're open, we're financed, and we're ready to hear from you. And you can find me easily on our website at Film Victoria and get in touch with our team that is willing to help you with the application process. VSI, as we've said, can be combined with the federal government offset. So that is 30% from the federal government plus our contribution. And additionally, in terms of our local independent game sector, which is incredibly talented in terms of developing their own games concepts. We have been funding them for over 25 years and have a different program for those games projects, where we have a funding pool that was actually doubled in this last funding period through the strategy that we have spoken about today. So we actually provide development funding between $150,000 to $300,000 for local games development, where the original creative concept is originated from Victoria. And we also have introduced 3 distinct application strands for that local games investment fund, which is prototype, vertical slice and production. And from this, we saw an increase in prototype funding also, which is often where developers find it hard to secure initial investment. So that really enables them to scope out their original creative concept and then get out there to investors and publishers to sell their concept into the marketplace. Thank you very much for your time.